Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Sun is rising, feel the warmth on my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race. I sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. No need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. My name is Kimberly McLemore, and I am your host. With us, we have Rita Cohen, owner of fitwithrita.com. Welcome, Rita.
Thank you.
How are you this evening?
I am doing quite well. I'm just getting over some kind of upper respiratory infection, but a whole lot better than a week ago. So
Oh,
praise
my
God.
goodness. Yes, it is. I can understand that, and the weather's been so crazy here lately. So I've been around a lot of people who've been kind of sickly, and catching things that they had normally caught before. So I'm glad to hear that you're feeling
Right.
better. But
Yeah.
I know that little cold or whatever you got, a virus is not going to stop you, though, right?
Nope. Not at all. Actually, this past weekend, I was in Richmond on Saturday, then it should be about half an hour north, and I think it's pronounced Rutherglen. The next day, both days, I did a 3-hour training or workshop for Zumba instructors, choreography workshop. And then the Sunday, which was in Rutherglen, and I also did an African heat masterclass. So that was all while I wasn't 100%.
Wow. Well, see, I've seen you at your 100%, so I can't imagine what those people were going through with only the half 100%. Okay, so oh my goodness, that is awesome. Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of get this thing rock and rolling a little bit. So, Rita, could you just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am Rita Cohen. I was born in Accra, Ghana, West Africa, and actually just 2 days ago, or is it one? Actually, yeah, just yesterday, I celebrated my 35th anniversary as an immigrant in this country. Wow, that's a long time ago.
Wow, congratulations. Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Wow. I just realized how long that was. Wow. Okay. Let's see. I'm very happily married. We will be 20 years next month. And we have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. The girl is older. She's in her second year at UVA. And our son is a sophomore in high school. And what else? I have a very, very varied background. I went to UVA to become a doctor, but I ended up getting a BA in music instead. And then I pursued a career in opera and musical theater. And that came, I don't want to say to a crashing halt, but it did come to a halt when the kids began. And so that was in Manhattan, and we moved to Virginia Beach in 2000, and we have been here since.
Wow. That I'm sitting here listening like, oh my goodness. So you have amazing journey that you have been on, especially once you have been here in the United States for 35 years. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I'm sure the journey prior to that has fulfilled you in so many different ways, but to come here and to tell your story and to be able to live out your dreams. And even though there's some other dreams that you're still working on, like you said, nothing's ever completely done, but life does get in the way, as we always say. So I think it's just amazing just listening. We still have a lot more to talk about. So I'm just sitting here like, wow, okay, this is going to be interesting to hear more about you. So tell me how you got inspired to do, I mean, you have the fitness piece, you have the African piece of Zumba of your own, and then actually doing the original Zumba. Now I do understand Zumba itself as being an instructor myself, but being licensed, but your formality of Zumba that I have seen is off the chain. I mean, when I took the master class, I had never seen anything like it. I said, oh my goodness, where's she been hiding at? We're not realizing, of course I knew you were in Virginia Beach, but to have that type of talent come here up in our area of Alexandria, Woodbridge area, when you taught the class, it was just so smooth and beautiful to be able to see that, that you're teaching that, because we don't have, even though we have a lot of Africans within our community and area, I have not seen that utilized as well in our community here with the Zumba. So tell me a little bit about your inspiration and how you got started in all of this.
Oh my goodness, that's, oof. How long do we have? No.
Hey, we'll keep it rolling as long as we need to. So.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, they always say that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And basically that's how I've gone about my life, because honestly, I'm living beyond the dream. Like I never expected my life as it is right now to be the way it is. Mm-hmm. So for me, I've already gone to the dream. I've already seen the dream, and now I don't even know what else to expect, because my life right now is beyond my wildest expectations. When I was growing up, we were poor in Ghana. Mm-hmm. Of course, when you're a child, you don't realize how poor you are until much later. Right. But we did not have indoor plumbing until we came to this country. And I have been dancing and singing all my life. I remember winning singing competitions in Ghana, dancing competitions in Ghana. And the way we have competitions in Ghana, or at least back then, you would get in a circle and everybody would take their turn and dance. And then when the people liked you the most, they start throwing money at you. Oh, wow. And I do remember to this day coins striking me on my forehead. It was so painful, but at the same time, it was so joyous because I knew they liked me. So that encouraged me to keep going. I'm talking, I was like 5 or 6 years old. Mm-hmm. So fast forward to coming to this country, I kind of tucked away my performing because, when you are an immigrant, especially when you're a child of an immigrant and you come to America, you're expected to be a doctor, an engineer, mm-hmm. or a lawyer. Lawyer being like the third in that order. Wow. Okay. So I thought I was going to be a doctor. It was just an assumption. And then when I went to UVA, my very first year, I went to UVA on a full ride. And my first semester, I was failing almost everything. And it turns out that I had Graves' disease, which is hyperthyroidism. And my brain basically was not functioning well. I would go to all my classes, but I could not understand anything that was going on. My metabolism was too high for my body, basically, to catch up. Mm-hmm. But to make a long story short, in the spring of my first year, I had my thyroid removed by radioactive iodine. And at that time, I was still singing. And through that process of being a medical patient, I realized that this is not for me. So then the question became, what do I want to do? And eventually I settled on music because I've always done it anyway. So I thought, why not make it official? Well, my parents weren't too pleased.
Wow. I could imagine.
But, yeah, they were not too pleased. But I did get another scholarship to the Manhattan School of Music where I got my master's in classical voice performance. And I had been traveling and singing. Basically, the way I describe it is I sang from New York all the way down to Texas. And when our daughter came 19 years ago, I was still trying. We moved here right before she turned 2 because my family's here. And I remember even when our son came 3 years later, I would fly up to New York, do auditions, come home, etc., etc. And at some point, I just got tired of it. And I realized that I needed to be home for my kids, and I needed to not put myself and my family through that kind of stress. So I'm taking the long way to answer your question because I feel like eventually when I get there, it'll make sense. Mm-hmm. So at this point, I'm not singing, I'm not performing. Then I'm being a mommy, quote unquote, and I became kind of miserable. I had no idea what to do with myself, what to do with my life beyond my kids, who are amazing, but I just was not being fulfilled as me, as a person. And to make a long story short, I found out, I think it was the summer of 2007, that American soprano Donna Upshaw had breast cancer. So I was like, wow, that's, usually you don't hear things like that in the singing community. Mm-hmm. So I took it myself to do a fundraiser with a recital where I took women composers and made the entire program out of women composers. And it was a success. I raised, I'm trying to remember, definitely over $1,000 for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. But in the process of working on that, I met this woman who it turns out was in stage 4 breast cancer. And this is so timely because I can't believe it's October, right. Women's National Health Month and Breast Cancer Month. But anyhow, her name was Louise. And Louise and I got close because she was a classical pianist. And she wanted to help me with a concert, and she did. She got her friends to come. She was there. She loved it. That was November 2007. And we kept in constant, communication, but I didn't hear anything from her, like from Thanksgiving all the way through the beginning of the next year. Mm-hmm. So I got concerned, and finally I was able to reach her, and she said, oh yeah, this round of chemo is kicking my butt. I just can't wait for it to be over because I need to get back to my Zumba. And this was early 2008, and I said, what is Zumba? And she just went, wow, I didn't know she had that much energy. The way she described it, oh my God, Zumba's amazing. You feel like a rock star. Da, da, da. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I kid you not, I swear this happened. The very next day after that conversation, there was an article in the newspaper about this new fitness format called Zumba.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it listed all the local areas where there were Zumba classes, and it turns out there was one literally just across the street from my neighborhood in the rec center. So I went, and it was love at first sight because all the Latin rhythms are basically based on West African rhythms. Mm-hmm. So I had grown up with those rhythms and those sounds, but not necessarily the language, even though I speak Spanish fluently. So I felt like I was at home. And then the particular instructor that I went to, she played music from all over the world, not just Latin America. So I was just, oh my God. I was like, yes. And that was it. That was the beginning of, I can't say the end because it hasn't ended yet, but that was how it began. And in 2009, June of 2009, I finally decided I was ready to become an instructor, even though everybody had been pushing me and asking me if I was an instructor beforehand. Mm-hmm. And I did training. I began teaching in October of 2009. I took a few of my friends and neighbors and sort of used them as guinea pigs in my house. And after the second so-called class, they said, look, this is ridiculous. You're ready. Go to a studio. Go teach your
Yeah, who are you trying to fool, right? It's like,
right?
who are you kidding
But
yourself?
yes, the interesting thing is from the moment I became an instructor, and I think it was because of Tanya Beardsley. Do you know who she is?
No, I don't. Mm-mm.
Ah, okay. Tanya Beardsley was one of actually, the original face, the female face of Zumba.
Okay, I know you're talking
She,
about now.
along
Yep.
with Gina Grant, were always with Beto.
Yep.
And unless they've changed it, she was the one who was in the B1 DVD,
DVD.
like after you do the training. Yes, that's Tanya Beardsley. She inspired me so much because the way she moved, I was worried that I wasn't Latina enough. I wasn't Hispanic enough in my movements. That was my concern.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw her, she had this swag and this like hip hop feel to her movements. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. And so the one thing I always knew that I would do was to bring my culture, my Africanism into my Zumba classes. And the biggest reason for that was because no matter what Zumba class I went to, I never saw that.
Right.
Or if they had quote unquote African, it was what I call the bird arms, and that was it.
Right. You're
So
right.
I was like, I'm on a mission. I need to educate, a few people that there's a whole lot more to African moves than this.
Than just the arms, right? Mm.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So from my very, very first song that I introduced to my class and they went crazy, I was like, I think I'm onto something.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2013, I'd been an instructor for 4 years at that point. I applied to become what's called a Zumba jammer.
Mm-hmm.
And you apply, you audition, you send in videos, and, it's a long, complicated application. Then they pick you to come and train. Then, if they think you are a good fit for the program, then they offer you the license where you travel anywhere in the country and the world to hold 3-hour choreography sessions for members of the Zumba Instructor Network, and you teach them your own original choreography. And so, in addition to my classes, and until like a week ago, having my own studio, I was traveling, sometimes it was local, but I was traveling pretty much almost every month, whether around the state or around the country. I've even been to France teaching my choreography and presenting my African Heat masterclass is the one, kind of like the one you went to. The one we did was Afro-Latino. It's sort of the same thing because I did all my African stuff.
Right.
I also offer iHeart Afrobeats workshops. And I don't know, I love people from all over the world. I love different cultures. And I feel like if I can use the Zumba platform to kind of educate people about different cultures and rhythms from all over the world, then it will make them less ignorant and more accepting of people. And especially in this time of our society, in this time of the world, everything that's going on, we need to understand each other better.
Amen.
Because I feel like that's how all these disagreements and terrible things happen. It's just a lack of knowledge, lack of education.
Right. And when people have the fear of not knowing, instead of them asking the question, they assume and then end up diving into things that they should not be doing, and that's the reason why we have most of the problems that we have today. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, it's nothing new. We've had these problems for years and centuries. It's just, the same old thing of people having the ignorance and like I said, not the lack of knowledge and understanding of what surrounds us every day, and that, we're all still human beings, but at the end of the day, it's okay to be different, and whether you accept that or not, does that give you the right to be disrespectful? And we see so much of that in the society we live today. It just seems to be ramping up even more here recently. But I wanted to kind of touch bases and kind of go back just a little bit on what you've been talking about. The thing that just hit me the most was listening to you tell the story about how you've actually had to have your thyroid removed so that you could have your normalcy back and be able to function, but then to take your negativity and turn it into something positive in so many different ways. It's just amazing, your strength, you know, to hear how you have accomplished the things you've accomplished and have inspired your inspiration from others. You've turned everything around from your negativity. You've used it to inspire others. And now you've been for several years inspiring others with your talents and teaching them the things they need to be taught about life, you know, the lessons of living. And then on top of that, having the joy, being able to take that, any pain that they may have or the joys that they have, and use it in Zumba. And that's really what Zumba is all about. It's having a party.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm constantly amazed when people come up to me, whether it's after class, after an event or anything, and they say, wow, you just made my day. And I've had people, they come up to me, they say, before I walked in here, I was so sad. I've had a rough day, or I had a rough night last night, and I didn't even feel like coming in here, but now I feel like I can go and conquer the world, you know?
Right.
And just that type of feedback, I cannot explain how it makes me feel, because it's just, not only does it let me know I'm on the right track, but to know that I can affect someone like that without saying a word, just by moving and just, oh my goodness, wow. That's powerful.
Well, yeah, it just goes to prove that music and dance is, you know, a natural instinct. Is something that we can all relate to. And it doesn't have to do with color. And that's the key.
No.
You know, it has nothing to do with that. And when people learn to tune those things out, their world becomes so different. And that's what's amazing.
Yes.
And that's what you offer. And like I said, you know, a person's having a bad day. Even if you're having a bad day, you don't even know. But once you hit that stage and you start to move, everything goes away, because you're at that moment. Absolutely. You're in that moment. So I think it's amazing. So I have a few more questions. Talk to me, though, about some of the challenges you've had being here in the community of Virginia Beach, starting your business, and, you know, what type of feedback or what problems were you dealing with as you were trying to build your business?
Okay. Well, obviously, the most significant challenge was that I was trying to be, and I am, an independent instructor, where most instructors work in rec centers or fitness facilities. And I guess for me, people ask me, why did I do that? Honestly, I just wanted my own hours. That's really it.
Right.
I wanted to teach on a schedule that worked for me and my family. So that's how I went about it. And I also wanted a place where I felt like it was more of a holistic thing, because I'm almost getting my, oh my gosh, I can't think, my nutrition certification through the National Association of Sports Medicine. I'm almost there. So I wanted something where not only can I enlighten people about health and fitness, but I can also add that nutrition component, because in the fitness facilities, you're not allowed to do that. You just come, you teach your class, you go. That's it.
Right. That's right.
So I wanted something where I would have more of a personal, one-on-one sort of feel, even though it's group fitness, with my clientele. And being an independent instructor has helped me to do that. So the challenges are, obviously, in the fitness facility, you can have 60, 80, 100 people in a class, because they advertise like crazy. They have, you know, packages, they have contracts, yearly membership, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I don't have that. So my challenge has been getting the word out about me. And I honestly, I have learned over the years to just let my work speak for itself, let my clientele speak for me. And my classes may not be huge, but that's not why I do them. So that doesn't really bother me. I've had people with me for 9 years and they follow me wherever. And I have people who just began and they're following me, you know. So as long as I feel like I have an impact or a positive impact on somebody, then whatever I'm
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah, we just
Okay.
kind of went out on me there for a second. So you were
Oh,
talking
weird.
about, yeah, it was kind of strange. I was like, okay, she just went real silent there. It's okay, it happens. With our great technology that we have. But you were just
Yeah.
briefly talking about the fact that, the challenges you have are just, getting people getting out there and people, continue to building the classes, even though you have great classes that because you're independent, that it's harder to sometimes get those, the 50, 60s or whatever people in a class because you're not attached to any of the gyms and stuff, which is, to me, I find that the instructors have more freedom when they're not,
Right.
attached to some of the contractual, type programs where they want it to be very basic. Well, you can't do this, you can't do that, and I've seen
Right.
I've definitely have seen a lot of the Zoom instructors here recently, probably in the last few months. There's been a lot more changes and a lot more people going out on their own because of those restrictions. So I think that what you're doing is the right way, and like you said, it's about how it affects people, and people want to continue to be with you no matter where you go. So you are absolutely doing the right thing. And I'm sure you know that within your heart, what everything that you provide is what's most important.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So another question I have for you is that if you had another woman who wanted to get into a business, doesn't matter whether it's Zumba or any other business, what type of advice would you give them?
Wow. Well, you know what? This advice goes for anyone in any field, regardless of what they're doing. Don't take no for an answer. No just means maybe they're not ready for you. No means you didn't prepare well enough. No means find another way. No means go through the window, not the door, or go through the back door, not the front door, you
Right.
know?
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I have learned, even my entire life. Just no is not definitive in my book.
Absolutely. That's great advice because no matter what business you're in, no matter what you're doing, you're going to absolutely get those no's, and you just got to keep climbing that ladder until you reach where you want to be. There is no such thing as no. It's just like you said, I love the analogy or the summation that you just gave about the fact that, really it's either you're not prepared, there's other things you may need to do to turn that no into a yes. So I definitely like that. Please tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you.
Well, you can always go to my website, fitwithrita.com. It's also on Facebook. When you're on Facebook, you can do a quick search, Fit with Rita, or facebook.com/the letter Z as in zebra with Rita. I'm also on Instagram, Fit with Rita. You can follow me there. I'm very easy to get a hold of, and I'm very quick with my responses if you need to get in touch with me for any reason.
Okay. Well, I definitely know being in this area, I see you all the time on Facebook and all the different classes or whatever you're participating in somewhere else locally here. So I'm definitely keeping track because I was like, yeah, I need to see her again.
Definitely.
I really enjoyed your class.
Your area, December.
I know. And I was going to ask you want to talk a little bit about that event coming up in December?
Yes, I am so excited. It's the December 9th is a Saturday before that where I'll be doing a choreography workshop again, a jam session for the Zen members. And then the next day, Sunday, December 10th, 3 to 6 p.m. in Alexandria, we are having a 3-hour masterclass fundraiser for the Oralee Smith Cancer Foundation. This foundation is phenomenal because it was founded by an African-American woman. She's quite young, actually, and she created or found that laser treatment, it works just as well or even better than chemotherapy without any of the horrible side effects. And, of course, the pharmaceuticals are not happy. So we are trying to raise funds for her organization to try and cure and treat cancer, and there's much more humanitarian and physically less, I don't know, straining or whatever the word is, manner. And it's going to be amazing because we are going to have the Virginia Zumba education specialist, April Smith,
Right.
as well as the international Zumba education specialist, Loretta Bates. She's everywhere, all over. You say Zumba and, you can pretty much see her name with it. Those two are going to be headlining the event, and I'm a guest instructor along with a few local instructors in the area. So it is sure to be amazing. Simply amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait. I will definitely be there, and yeah, I know both of them, so I'm real excited about seeing them, April and Loretta again. So absolutely looking forward to that event. So that's going to be great.
Yes.
And so and I just want to thank you for taking the opportunity tonight to come on and hang out with me and talk with me. Your story is just amazing. But do you have any last words that you would like to share?
I do. I mean, I began this whole interview telling you that I feel like I'm living post-dream or beyond my dream. I grew up as a poor little girl in Ghana. I never knew I'd be here. And, we thought that the streets of America were paved with gold and money grew on the trees and you wake up and there's milk automatically at your front door. And I came here and I was so disappointed to see that it wasn't like that. But but one thing I absolutely loved was that it doesn't matter if you were born poor or if you were born rich. You can become anything you want to be. Because in Ghana, there is no free education. Even if it's public, you still have to pay something.
Wow.
Here, you can literally have your education from K through postgraduate free. And that is unbelievable. Anything literally is possible, and I'm living proof of that. Sometimes I wake up and I cannot believe my life. I'm just so grateful. So,
hello.
I guess when I'm I'm here.
Yeah, we just faded out.
I was saying, I think what I'm trying to. Oh.
Okay, we're losing you again there for a second, Rita. Hello. All right, we'll give her a couple more minutes here. Looks like we faded out again. I'm sure she'll give a call, and she should be back on here in a second. And you know how it is with our lovely our technology, so we're having a few difficult technical problems here. So just give me a second, listeners, and we'll get her back on the line. We'll see here if we probably get disconnected. So
okay.
Oh, there you go. Are you there? Hello?
Here? I hear you perfectly.
Okay, because I keep losing you there for a second. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
Yes, yep, I can hear you now. So you were just finishing up telling me some last words?
Yes. Yes, my last words are, there is no excuse for not trying. If I can come from being poor in Ghana, no indoor plumbing, to where I am today, and my backyard is the Chesapeake Bay, anybody can do anything.
You got that right. And that is a perfect ending. And, the beauty about your stories, too, is that you absolutely appreciate everything that has been a part of your life. And you're giving back in so many different ways that you probably don't even realize how much you're giving back. But I do appreciate you. And I am absolutely looking forward to seeing you again soon. And I want to thank you again for coming on tonight and spending some time with me. And for everybody else, I want to say it's great having the opportunity to talk with all of you. I'm here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Please become a follower and follow us on the Spreaker. You can follow us at www.spreaker.com. facebook.com/user/WSBI. You can also listen to this program at our website at www.wsbillc.com. Also visit us at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter. But until then, you all have a great evening. And Rita, I'll see you soon. Have a good one.
Wonderful. Thank you. You too. And thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
And all good night.
Good night.